program Improve Seeds, or your first agricultural television in the capital city of Abuja, Nigeria. I'm your girl, Holunda Homsef Vatwa, and again today I have another important and an educated, a well-enlightened individual, my guest in the house. And we're going to talk about the advantages of organic farming system against inorganic farming system. When we come back from our short break, I'm going to introduce Mr. Jude Obi, our guest, and he will enlighten and explore more about that. Stay tuned. Improve Seeds are your first agricultural television. And I have here in the studio, before we went on the break, I told you that I have a very special guest who is going to explore on the topic. He is the president of Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners in Nigeria, and also the coordinator, Knowledge Center for Agriculture and Agroecology in Africa. Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much and welcome viewers.
It's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
So how are you doing, sir?
I'm all right, trying to cope with the struggle to popularize and create awareness in organic agriculture in Nigeria, Africa, and the world.
Well, that is great. All right, sir, organic farming, no doubt, is the best in terms of health and other means of livelihood, in Nigeria and the world. But the rate at which farmers are exposed to that is very limited. Why?
Now, previously, we were practicing our traditional method of food production, and it was feeding us. At a point, we were made to know that population is growing at geometric rates, while food production is growing at arithmetic rates, and at that stage, time will come when we will not be able to feed ourselves. So we were made to start practicing what we call conventional. It was called industrialization. And simply because some people want to make some money. So all kinds of fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides were introduced to us. It even made us lazy that we don't want to work hard to get what we want, and we continue to produce food. But with that regard, our soil is not resilient and is not capable to carry those things. So subsequently, we come to realize that the multiplication or increase of food production which we have planned is not coming, and the environment has been destroyed, and our health affected. Now it has done to us that we must come back. So the effort we put in convincing our farmers to go into conventional, we have to increase it to make them unlearn what they have learned, and that is making it challenging and difficult.
Wow. So what is now the advantages of organic farming system against inorganic farming system? Maybe when they know the differences, maybe that will spur their minds to go into it.
Now I come back by saying that we are talking about organic agriculture, contrary to organic farming,
yes,
because agriculture is incompleteness, while farming is limited. When we talk about organic agriculture, we talk about the whole value chain, including advocacy, including extension, including consumption, including marketing, include every aspect of agriculture. Now, because we have practiced this and our soil is not good recipient of that process, it became difficult for us to be able to feed ourselves. So one of the first things we do is to make the farmers know that you have seen that this fertilizer, which is not readily available, which is expensive, is not giving you the commensurate yield. Because what we have noticed is that the more you use fertilizer, the more you are required to use it again in order to get commensurate yield. So the farmers, we are trying to make them know that if you use the organic agriculture method, because organic agriculture practice is a production system that uses ecology, it considers health, it considers fairness, it considers care, and it relies on, number one, health of the soil, it relies on ecosystem process, and it relies on environment. So when you put all these things together, you see that our health, production system, and environment is sustained. So what we need to do is to convince the farmers to know that, number one, the yield that they are getting does not meet their requirement. And it is because what is being used to produce does not suit the soil. Now, if you use organic process, number one, there will be no need for high expenses in fertilizer, herbicides, and pesticides, because the soil amendment you put, instead of putting it yearly, once you put one, it will serve you for 5 years. And the interesting part of it is that the yield of this year will be definitely higher than the yield of next year, and it continues to increase. But most importantly, this organic amendment you put in the soil helps to protect the soil so that you don't lose the soil by either erosion or things that has to do with such things because of the lack of resilience in the soil. Okay, now the advantages of organic agriculture could be divided into two major parts. First one has to do with the environment, and the second one has to do with the health. Now, with the environment, we deal with the soil. It protects the soil. It reduces contamination. It purifies the soil, simply because the soil is the purifier of water. So when the soil has been destroyed, its capacity to purify the soil, the water that we use as groundwater, is reduced. So it purifies the soil and lowers soil pollution. It lowers soil pollution. Now, on the crop part, it increases crop yield, and very importantly, it enhances availability of pollinators, because some of the crops that we eat, it fertilizes through pollination. So use of conventional method try to destroy the insects that does this pollution, but organic agriculture in its practice allows coexistence of both harmful and beneficial animals and insects. So this helps to maintain the ecosystem and makes life sustainable. And most importantly, it sustains biodiversity. Organic agriculture sustains biodiversity in the sense that sometimes when you want to talk agroecology, if you come to a farm, you see that the farmers are discouraged from cutting all the trees. You allow both plants, different plants to exist, and with that, both plants and animals coexist well. And that helps us to sustain the environment and health. What about health component? Now, organic agriculture gives food that is more nutritious, because the nutrients in the soil that is produced through manure contains all the elements that you need. Contrary to fertilizer, most times what we use is just NPK, and NPK is just to make the crop grow without providing the required nutrients. Now, food produced organically are tastier. Food produced organically have longer shelf life. Food produced organically have good quantity of antioxidants, and these antioxidants are the things that help us to deal with things that should not be in our body. As a matter of fact, food produced organically does not contain toxic materials. We know that the materials, those pesticides we use to pesticide and insecticide that we use to control pests and diseases in our health, if it kills animal, then in accumulation it can kill man too. But if you practice organic agriculture, those pesticides and insecticide will not be there. We consume residue of these pesticides and insecticides in our food, but practice of organic agriculture excludes it. And most importantly now, when we practice organic agriculture, we don't encourage that people should encroach the forest in order to get more land, but we manage the land we have in a good ecosystem balance so that the land we have will continue to provide the food we need to be able to live and enjoy life.
The soil amendment serves the farm more better than the inorganic system of farming. This is one of the most important things farmers need to take, cognizance of. So we'll go on a short break. When we come back, he's going to tell us and explore more. And I will see the reason why organic farming system is much more better than the inorganic farming system. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Before we went on the break, of course, Mr. Jude Obi here has enlightened us and has told us a lot of advantages about the use of organic agriculture, which he said is wider, but we narrowed it down to farming, and where it helps the soil, it helps even the health, the environment, and so many others. So now, farmers now say that inorganic farming system grows faster. It is faster to use than the organic farming system. Is it true? And it is true. Why?
Now, this is the funniest part and the most dangerous part of it, because what happened is that people, if you go to things like animal production, they use things like growth booster. And in crop production, they still use hormones to make the crops grow fast. But we know that natural system gets better than unnatural systems. So what happened is that the farmers were deceived that when they use this growth booster or hormones, then their crops will grow faster. Yes, it grows faster, but we know that when these things grow faster, they die faster too. Now, these growth hormones that are used both in plants and animals are dangerous to our health because they are chemicals. And yes, their crop will grow fast, grow big, but it is not tasty. And what I have said yesterday, I'll repeat it again, that what do you benefit that you're able to get 10 cucumber, you're able to sell only 3 and 7 get damaged, rather than if you are a organic farmer, you produce 5, that 5 will last for a long time and will not damage. So at the end, the conventional farmer gets more, but the income is decreased because large quantity of the producers are lost because of damage. Now, we don't even talk about health of the farmers, health of the consumers, health of the people that operate within the value chain, because everybody is affected by this. For instance, if this growth hormone are used, the farmer will not use growth hormone without using insecticides and pesticides to protect his crop that is not resilient, that cannot survive in harsh environment. So who is to suffer? Number one, the first person to suffer is the farmer that uses these materials, because the farmer will use a sprayer to spray, and the farmer is not immune to inhaling any portion of this. Secondly, what about the consumer? The farmer produces this, and the farmer will not keep it for a long time for effect of these insecticides and pesticides to leave, because the farmer wants to make money. If the farmer keeps this produce for the effect of these insecticides and pesticides to leave, the products will spoil. So the farmer have to quickly take it to the market. The consumer consume this with the pesticides and insecticides. What is the result? Cancer, heart problem, respiratory problem. What about children? The worst of it is that the quantity that adults can resist, children cannot resist it. An adult can eat just 10 cucumber to fall sick. A child will take half and the child falls sick immediately. So what about children? What about all the operators within the value chain? Everybody gets affected, because these dangerous materials is always there till the stage of consumption. So the more we create awareness about this and the danger it is involved, the better for us. And one good news is that everybody wants to consume organic. Everybody wants to go organic. But we must create enough awareness so that people will know the advantage and disadvantage of organic. Most importantly, to be able to identify it. One of the benefits of organic is that there is traceability. If something is organic and you buy it, if there is any problem associated with buying on consumption, you can easily trace the source. And the source in organic system, the person will be punished. Because as a matter of fact, a genuine organic practitioner is conscious of what he does, because people approach you based on trust, and you must not betray that trust. Most cancer patients and sick people, they consciously go for organic produces. They consciously look for it, and we insist that before we direct any person to any organic produce, we must make sure that the person is conforming completely to the principles of organic agriculture, because if we do that, we are even betraying ourselves and the principles we have decided to publicize.
That is great, sir. You've really said it, because a lot of people are worried about GMOs and all that, and their health is really, really the most important one. So what words do you have to tell our farmers out there, but especially now that we're going to the farming season? What should they look out for?
Now, the greatest problem we have in this country recently is the introduction of GM seeds, maize and cowpea. Now, we must understand the challenges associated with GM. The greatest challenge associated with GM, which we must confront with all that we have, is the destruction of our seed system. What GM does is that GM subjects you to slavery, because GM seed cannot be replanted. If you buy GM seed after harvest, if you want to replant the next year, you must go and buy. And by the time it happens for 5 years, all our traditional seeds, all our seeds have gone. That they will now, and their plan is that they will introduce it to you. It will be cheap. When they know that you have lost all your seeds, they will tell you the real price. And if you don't buy, if you don't use it, then you cannot plant, and devastation is the hunger and problem that will come. Then what harm does GM have in our environment? We must define GM as a process where materials that are not necessarily part of cowpea, if we are talking about cowpea, is brought into cowpea. That is one. Two, some certain things that will make the cowpea resistant to particular diseases will be introduced to it, and the cowpea will grow. What organic agriculture is preaching is ecosystem balance, where both insects and plants coexist. But a situation where we make a particular insect exterminated, it then means that we are creating imbalance in the ecosystem, and that will haunt us not after a long time. So the acceptance and introduction of GM is a disaster, and we must fight it with all our strength. So our advice to the farmers is that they should know where they get their seeds from. That is one. Two, the advice or the marketing of GM is not what it means. They will tell you the advantages, but the disadvantages is bigger than the advantages. So let us insist that our own seeds are secured. Let us continue to plant our own seeds. As a matter of fact, it has been introduced, we have become too lazy that we think that weeding is punishment. Trying to physically make our plants grow is punishment. It is not punishment, because people say that it is hard work. As a matter of fact, if you don't sweat, you will not eat. But we are learning that we should not sweat but eat. And the consequence is what is confronting us not long from now, because one of the things I used to end discussion in organic agriculture is we have been confronted with new method of dying. Those new methods of dying is the things we have introduced to ourselves. New method of dying is sleeping and not waking up. New method of dying is driving and dying of the steering. New method of dying is walking and collapsing along the way. These are not natural things. These are the things we introduced by our practice, by the way we manage the environment and the ecosystem. But we can trace it back. We have evidence that those that eat organic food without medicine, that some ailments receded and they returned to normal health. So let us insist that it must have to be organic. Let us insist that it must have to be done in our traditional way, because what we do not understand is that organic is not about traditional practice. We call organic as production system that combines traditional practice, innovation, and science. And I'm not sure that there is any creativity that will be stronger than that. The only thing that was removed from organic practice is tradition. They just introduced innovation and science. But tradition is there because we cannot throw it away. It has served us, and we have seen that the system we adopted is dangerous for us, and we must come back if we want to live.
Mr. Jude, the President one and the coordinator of Knowledge Center for Agriculture and Agroecology in Africa has spoken. We need to go back to our traditional way of getting the right seeds, using the right traditional African seeds. Thank you for finding time here and telling us more, and reminding us that we need to go back and farm locally. It's not punishment, it's not hardship, but to save our tomorrow. Thank you so much for finding time. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I enjoy coming to ARCN, and I enjoy the publicity ARCN gives to agriculture, especially organic agriculture, and their support for the Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria, because supporting the Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria is invariably propagating organic agriculture and practice. Thank you very much. I'm grateful to this Executive Secretary of ARCN because of the support he continues to give to agriculture in Nigeria, Africa, and even the world, because IFWAM have recognized him as one of the ambassadors of organic agriculture. Thank you very much.
If you want to know more about agriculture, about farming, about everything that has to do with food, our health, this is the station, the first agricultural television in Nigeria, ARCN TV, the capital city of Nigeria, Abuja. I am Hilda Homsef Frantuam, urging you to watch more of our programs and contribute your own quota to food security. Thank you, and see you next time. you.